Hello everyone, Moose here, and today I'm really excited to talk to you about a powerful Stoic principle that can truly help you change your perspective, banish anxiety, and have more drive in your life. In today's video, we are exploring the dichotomy of control, a foundational Stoic principle that was highlighted in the very first passage of Epictetus in Charidion and clearly resonates throughout his works. It was also mentioned by other Stoics such as Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, however through different angles and different formulations, so stick to the end to learn about the dichotomy of control and the best way to apply it in your life. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to the choices that are my own. Epictetus discourses. So here, according to Epictetus, the most crucial decision in your life is whether to concern yourselves with the things that are internal to you or external to you. He advises us to make a clear distinction between both categories and then to take a firm decision to only focus on the things that are in our control, or in other words, that we have power over, and to completely ignore everything that falls outside of our control. Simply put, what we have control over or have influence over is something that is only impacted by our actions and decisions. Epictetus determines the things in our control as our opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and the things outside of our control as body, property, reputation, and command. So at first, that distinction could cause some confusion because one might think that we don't necessarily have control over our desires. However, we might only have control over whether to act on it or not. So to clarify this point, according to Massimo Pigliucci, a professor of philosophy in the City College in New York and an author of several books about Stoicism, it is a translation inaccuracy, and if we look at the old version, the original version, we'd find that what Epictetus meant would be our considered judgments, the values we endorse, and our decisions to act. If we want to challenge the dichotomy of control, we can take the book of William Irvine, A Guide to the Good Life, because he talks a lot about the dichotomy of control. However, he thinks that there is a tiny problem with the statement, and that in fact it should be renamed as the trichotomy of control. According to him, we have three categories. The first one would be the things in our control, or the things that we have power over. The second one would be the things external to our control, or we don't have power over. And the third one would be the things that fall in the middle between both categories. So the things that we have some control over, but not entire control or complete control. So as I said, he talks a lot about this idea or this framework of the trichotomy of control. And according to him, it is a really powerful psychological trick that everyone should apply. But the most important thing is the category that falls in the middle, that contains most of our objectives in our lives. And the key thing is to be able to understand the middle category and properly set our goals accordingly. To illustrate his point, he takes the example of an objective, winning a tennis match. With this example, he states that we can control our inputs regarding this objective, such as the practice, the preparation, the intention to win, or even we can go further with eating well, sleeping early, etc. We have a lot of inputs regarding this very objective. However, the output of the objective would be winning the tennis match is something that falls outside of our control, or in other words, we don't directly have power over. So why is this principle useful? The first thing that comes to mind in terms of benefits is the amount of time, energy, and mental load we are going to free for ourselves when we completely ignore the things that we have no power over. If you stop thinking about what people think of you, their intentions, their values, or for example, if you're going to have a promotion or not, like all the things that are completely outside of our control, then we will have much more free energy and free time, and much less anxiety also to do really productive things, or at least shift our focus to the things that we control. Epictetus argues that we are behaving foolishly if we spend time worrying about the things that are not up to us. and that the wise man should give up the reward the external world has to offer to gain control and tranquility. So when facing adversity or sad or unhappy about any specific situation, we should ask ourselves this simple question: can I do anything about it? And if the answer is no, then you know what to do. We should completely ignore the matter. And if the answer is yes, however, then we should take full accountability and make it our task to find the solution or determine the steps or the decisions to make to change the situation. And that leads us to our next point: proper goal setting. So the second point here will focus on setting the proper goals, or in other words, focusing on the middle category of the trichotomy of control. When it comes to setting goals, according to Marcus Aurelius, the most important thing is to give the right value to the right things. In other words, we should first set our principles and then set our objectives and our goals accordingly. So if my values are discipline, courage, and wisdom, then my goals should align and would consequently be to stick to a rigorous plan, work out, not indulge in any vices such as alcohol or smoking, and act accordingly when facing adversity. Okay, so back to the framework of the trichotomy of control. How do we set goals when we know that we don't completely control the matter? So the key thing here is to divide every objective into inputs versus outputs. To illustrate my point, I'm going to give you a concrete example in my life. As mentioned in the previous video, I have a 9-to-5 job as a sales representative. And when you work in sales, normally you have an objective to attain, whether in terms of opportunities generated, in terms of revenue generated, in terms of deals signed, etc. But you always have an objective to attain at the end of each month or each quarter. So when I applied the input versus output principle, it helped me tremendously in attaining my targets and also in alleviating a lot of the anxiety that comes with working as a sales representative. The idea was, instead of focusing on your objective, so the revenue generate, the number of deals or the number of signatures, etc., you focus on the inputs. You focus only on what you control. So when I started to apply this principle, I shifted completely my focus into what I control. So I controlled the number of cold calls I do per day, the numbers of account I target, the numbers of email I sent every day, etc. So all the metrics that I could control 100%, and at the end of the day I can say, okay, I achieved my personal objective. So when I adopted this mindset in my sales job, I've had less anxiety and much better results in the past 2 quarters, because I was sure to do the right things, put in the right work or the right numbers, and then not focus on the outcome, and the outcome was always there. So as you can see, they are both extremely connected. The inputs directly impact the outputs. Focusing on the inputs will guarantee improvement over time, and focusing on the outputs will guarantee disappointment. This mindset pushes you to take action and overcome the fear of failure and rejection. So guys, to conclude, I want to make a few reminders for this video. In painful or stressing circumstances, reminding ourselves to shift our attention to the things we control can have an immediate calming effect. It gives us permission to turn our attention away from the things causing us pain and frustration. Outside of these difficult moments, it serves as a reminder to switch from outcome to process thinking. If we want to be happier and better people, we should keep our focus on improving ourselves. Don't forget to internalize your goals, focus on your inputs, but never lose sight of the bigger picture. By applying this principle properly, according to Epictetus, you will become the architect of your life. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and see you in the next video. Have a good day.